Hi everybody, my name is Tony. I'm one of the co-founders and co-CEOs of Everest Education. And today, I'm thrilled and honored to have two of our beloved alumni with us, Bella and Ling, who started with us all the way back in 2011. So it's a lot of fun to kind of get a chance to sit back and go back in history a little bit. And today, the topic that we've kind of set out for everybody is what to do with your summers. Right? You guys have had a lot of really interesting summers. You're graduating college graduating high school, going to college this year. You have one more year to go, going into 12th grade next year. And I think you guys have both done a phenomenal job the last few years to really design interesting summers for yourselves. But I think along the way, this is meant to be a pretty dynamic conversation, and so we'll see what other topics we can cover. But first, maybe can I ask you guys to each introduce yourselves a little bit and your history?
Okay. My name is Bella. I'm full Vietnamese, but I was born in Moscow, Russia, and I lived there for 4 years. When I came back here, I went to public school for 4 years, and then I moved to international school in 5th grade until now. So. Do
you remember anything about your time in Russia?
Yeah, I remember a bit, like how my house, like I have surprisingly good memory. Like,
yeah. A 4-year-old, you remember that?
Yeah, like I remember how my room looked like, and I remember there were like carrots on the carpet, like for some reason. I remember the details.
Did you leave the carrots there?
No, like it was just the pattern on the carpet, and I just remember it for some reason.
Okay.
I don't know why.
And what public school did you go to here?
Well, not public school. It's half private, half public. So I went to a really small one. It was Australian school, and the other one was international primary school. It's like one of the bigger one here. Yeah.
And then when we met you, you were studying at a different school.
Yeah, it was CIS then. Then I joined CIS and then the next year, 2 years later, I joined E2.
Yeah. Okay. So Bella is very near and dear to mine, Don's hearts, as part of the very first cohort that we had. Are you guys going to keep fist bumping?
Yeah.
So in the summer of 2011, Don and I had to ask all of our friends and family, do you guys have any kids? You know of anybody in, I think, 6th, 7th, or 8th grade who might want some free tutoring from two Stanford and Harvard guys? And you were one of the brave souls to volunteer, even though we had no teaching experience at the time.
Yeah, my mom was like, they're from Harvard and Stanford, so you might as well like give it a try.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was pretty thrilled because like Harvard and Stanford was like a dream for like public school students. So like when you actually hear about someone that is coming to teach you who was from Harvard, you're like, oh, this is awesome. So well, that was my mom's mindset as well.
That's awesome. And you've taken so many different courses with us since then, but I think what always stood out about me is how in the last couple years you've really developed your own mindset and developed your own plans, and we'll touch on it. Ling?
My name is Lin, and I'm a junior in BIS right now. I'm Vietnamese, but I was born in South Korea, and then I lived there for 6 years, then moved to China for 1 year, and I started studying Chinese there. Then I moved to Singapore for 4 years, then I moved to Vietnam.
Wow, that is a lot of places. Do you remember all those countries too?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I have like a weird I don't have a photographic memory, but my memories are like a photo, and then I can live out the experience from that.
That's kind of weird. Very, very lucky. So my favorite memory of Ling actually is maybe 4 years ago, when it was Pi.
Yeah, Pi.
Pi Day. And so, Pi Day, students are trying to memorize all the different digits of pi, and I think you blew everyone out of the water at 200?
My record now is 250.
250 digits of pi. Do you want to do it now or no?
If you want. I only know about 80, I think, right now.
But if it's a picture, does the picture get like blurry?
It's what happens with my memory apparently is that I chunk it. So I suddenly use 10, and then I connect 5, and then to connect those 50 digits, I have a weird connection. So if it was 555, and the next for the last bit, and then the next one was 9.
Okay.
The beginning of the next chunk, I'd be 5 plus 5 is 10, and there's 3 5s, and there's 1 5 left. So 10 plus minus 1 is 9. So
Okay, I don't think I followed that.
Yeah, that's like how I remember
She get it?
safety.
Yeah, you get it.
Fascinating. So it helps you to remember, you kind of have a combination of short and long-term memory helping you chunk things. That's a fascinating but very intimidating topic for me. So I'm going to park it on the side for now. and maybe we'll come back to that later. But so yeah, you are a rising senior this next year. You're finishing up your junior year now. And what I thought was really interesting, both of you have spent time in summer schools as well, abroad. So yeah, can we rewind a little bit back to your experiences, maybe at the beginning of high school, roughly, and how you started thinking about like what to do with summers in general? Did you have a big grand plan? Did your parents force you to do stuff? Did you want to do stuff? Was it our encouragement? Like, how did you guys come up with your plans, and what was it? Maybe freshman summer, sophomore summer, junior summer? Maybe starting over there.
Okay, so mine is like the typical Asian parent story. So like one of the friends she had like that friend told my mom about how his sister is applying to Brown University for summer school. So she's like, why don't you apply? So at first I was pretty reluctant because I didn't really like Brown for some reason. Like it's an Ivy League school, but I have no knowledge about it. I've never heard about it before, and I don't really want to spend like I look at the price. It was $5,000. I don't want to spend that much money for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But in the end, we signed up, like write application. It was quite funny because in hindsight, it was like college application, and the way you wait for the answer was also like as curious waiting for university application. So unlucky for me that summer they didn't have any courses for sciences left because they were all filled.
This is between freshman and sophomore year?
Oh yeah, it's the summer grade 9 to 10.
I see. And you only applied to one program that year?
One program, yeah. I think they let us pick 3 and then we get our top choice.
Okay.
So, wait, no. In Brown, you only get to pick one. That's in Stanford, yeah. In Brown, you only get to pick one, you apply for that one. And so I did a social justice course. I think Brown was kind of the flipping point in my high school because in grade 9, I was still really quiet. I didn't speak to anyone. I was not funny at all, and people would not laugh at my jokes. So eventually, I just stopped joking at all. So I went to Brown. That time we were allowed to bring my laptop. I think the greatest mistake I made in Brown was that I just sat in my room and used my laptop for the majority of the time. Because everyone there, like, because they had so different interests from me, they're not a science person. Most of the people in my social justice courses were people who were interested in doing stuff like social service and everything. So I didn't really fit in very well. And also a lot of them came from like really wealthy families. So they went out to Starbucks, to like different store. And for me, as a person who've never been to America, everything was crazy expensive. So the way that I saved money was to stay in my room and
hang out on your computer.
Yeah, but then like eventually I met some friend from dorm, which I became close with, and I think we just I just talked more with people, and I realized that okay, my humor is not that bad. People actually like and enjoy my company. So like that summer gave me a lot of confidence when it came to sophomore year, and I really liked the experience there.
That's fascinating. So I remember when I was in the U.S. growing up. So I was born and raised in the U.S. I went to a small Catholic grade school, and it wasn't until my summer between 7th and 8th grade for me where I did this course at University of California at Irvine, right by my house. And I felt very similar. That was like an environment where I'm a 7th grader who's hanging out with college students, learning like in like an introductory English course, but I was able to hold my own, and it gave me a lot of confidence to be more vocal and push myself a little bit more. But maybe like you, I spent a little too much time at the arcade. They had this huge arcade there that I unfortunately played too many video games. But it was a fun summer, and more importantly than anything else, it changed my mindset.
Yeah, I think one of the problems for me was also the age difference. Because social justice, you don't have a lot of grade 9, grade 10 kids doing that.
Yeah.
It's like the people who are graduating. So
Yeah.
It's quite difficult to bond with them as well.
Can we pause a little bit? What is social justice for people who have no idea what it is? I don't think I can tell you what it is.
It's so long ago. It's like they talked, mostly in that course, they talk about different way where you can help people who are in need. Like when you think of that, first thing that comes to people's mind is charity and like more monetary aid.
Mm-hmm.
But then social justice, we dive into how people actually solve the problem from the root of the problem. Like how can we, what does it say? How does, being passive about something sometimes is actually supporting it. Like it's pretty.
Is there an example of that?
I can't remember. I think it has to do with the woman and objectification of women.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't speak out about it and you just like let it slide, then it's kind of like supporting it. But like it's been quite a while ago and I didn't review my material.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another interesting reaction I have. So when you said, "Oh, what is brown?"
Yeah, exactly.
in the beginning, I feel like so many of our families actually don't know much about like the whole range of options of universities. And certainly when I was applying a long time ago, like I had no idea either what was available to me and why certain schools are different. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like one of the most important reasons I wanted to encourage you guys to go study abroad for these summers, so that you can start to get a sense of the different personalities. Because you spent one summer at Brown, another one, you were both at Stanford. Two very different environments, both phenomenal schools though, right? But very different personalities. And so I find that very, very fascinating. But so why don't we switch over now to Thuy-Linh? Do you want to tell us how was your thought process and what did you choose to do between your freshman and sophomore summer?
Well, I actually stemmed from the summer before that.
Oh.
So every summer I go to America, so it wasn't that daunting to study abroad. But I wanted to delve in and explore into computer programming. So I joined ID Tech, where they did like a beginner Java programming camp for about 1 week. It's a sleepaway camp at different universities.
Yeah.
And so I chose UVA because it was near to my house.
And tell us a little bit more about ID Tech as a camp and what kinds of offerings they have in general.
Well, they just have a bunch of different, I guess, languages they do. They had like really young students there, maybe like elementary school students just doing Minecraft and learning how to mod them and stuff like that, while we're doing like introductory Java, and they have like C++ and all that. You can just choose a range.
Yeah. And I'm curious, did you have any computer programming experience before that?
No.
So how did you get interested? How did you say, oh, I want to do this?
I think it's just always been there. I don't like this interest in technology, and I just like, maybe I should just explore it. It wasn't offered in school or anything like that. Just take that leap.
Was there any encouragement or guidance from your parents onto that?
My parents definitely, paved the way for me to be interested in technology.
How so? What did they do?
They just always brought it up in conversation, saying, here's a good industry for the future. It's always going to be available. There's no worry about you getting a job, and you'll have, in some way, be like interesting and have a voice because you're a female, and it's mostly male dominated.
Same with my story too.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite parts about this whole interview is I get to interview two of our best female students, and both of you have this interest in physics, sciences, technology, which honestly is very underrepresented, right? Not just in Vietnam, but all over the world. So I found that I didn't intentionally do that. It's just you guys both happened to be interested in that, which I find really, really fascinating. And how was the experience?
It's really cool. It's 1 week, and there's only actually one other girl there in the entire camp. So we really bonded over that, but we didn't feel segregated from the rest of the boys, which was really good. Like, after we started coding, there's a point when you code, you're just like, my brain is dead. I can't do anything. So after that, we just all play video games with each other and just like start talking, watching anime and just movies and nerd stuff, like playing chess for fun.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, it was really fun though.
So really embarrassing story. My 6-year-old son 2 months ago beat me at chess. And I was trying to win. I had arranged like my queen on one side, and then a bunch of two rooks and a bishop on the other side, and I thought I was going to trap his king, which was in the middle. And next thing I know, he pretended to go after my queen, and then moved a piece and checkmated me. It was horrific. It was horrific, and I was so embarrassed.
Oh.
But anyways, it's not just for nerds. Great, and then you've done a lot, I guess, since then. What did you do the next summer?
So after that, I applied to the Stanford camp, and I heard about that from my other friend. She was doing, I think, English. No, a different one. That's how we got to know each other.
Yeah.
So you said we were doing Stanford.
Yeah.
So she was doing an English camp, and my mom was like, "Oh, maybe we should just try it out for coding." And so I did the logic and problem solving course. And I really liked how they kind of like they have one giant dorm, and you're not only with your the same people in your course. They're similar, like there's coding and logic. They're all in that science field or STEM field.
Yeah.
But it was just a range of different personalities and from all over the world.
Awesome. And so that same summer you spent there as well. Tell us about that.
Oh, it was one of the best summer ever. Well, like first of all, when you go there, like when you're in Stanford, it's a completely different environment from Brown. It's not as peppy as Brown. It's like everyone there is.
We're more down to earth.
Yeah, people are a lot more down to earth there, and the structure. But like I think Tweeling and I, the camp that we go to were like filled with like insanely good people. Like my roommate was a national astronomy / physics Olympiad like contestant.
From what country?
From Romania. And I had like 2-3 Brazilian friends who were like international math Olympiad, and they're so smart and they just blow you away. Mm-hmm. And like when you're with people who are doing the same interests with you, like I did a cosmology course, it's so easier to pick up on each other and actually talk. And like everyone watch anime, people play Smash, like they smuggled in like GameCube controller to play, even though they say no technology. So like because of no technology,
I might send this to my Stanford friend. It's like,
but like no technology policy, so I end up didn't bringing anything, and I had more time to socialize.
And so you learned your lesson. From the Brown year.
And people there were more friendly than in Brown too, I think.
Really?
Yeah, and there is a more even mix of age in the case.
I've had that, you're always scared to kind of like go up to someone and introduce yourself, and because they might not like you.
Yeah.
But when we just got into that dorm, literally everyone was just like, "Hi, my name's this. Hi, I want this." Blah blah. It's like they're just going around in circles, just being
That's
so
fantastic.
Well, not to be stereotypical, but I think like the science community are more easy to get to know.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Do you think so?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Like, so the stereotype is that like
science
we're all
like down
you're
to
introverted.
earth.
You're down to earth, but introverted.
Yeah, and you're just like alone. I want to.
Yeah, and you're not trying to. So I guess like when I hear this, even I'm surprised a little bit. Like you said, it was people are out there introducing themselves.
Yeah, but also like you feel that they're more down to earth, I guess.
Yeah.
Than like people who do social science. No offense, but like when I go to Brown, when I talk to people, I feel like a bit hard to connect with them because like they feel a lot more like some way superior to you. But when you talk to a science person, they're like, oh hey, I'm like we could be good friends. So that's how I feel personally. But yeah.
And I think that's even like on the online community and coding or stuff like that. Like there's so many just forums and people are so willing to help, even if you're a beginner. And it's like one of the easiest questions in the world. But it's just like knowing you have support is from around the world.
Yeah.
That is a pretty good feeling.
I guess like the perks of learning science is that sometimes you're like, oh, you're this like insignificant part of the universe. So you shouldn't be the cocky, so you're just down to it.
That's a realization.
That's very deep. So I remember when you said about the introductions and how to make the most of not just your summers, but anywhere new you go. I was very scared when I got to Stanford because I had the same feeling you did maybe when you got to Brown, that everyone was so amazing around me. I got to my freshman dorm at Stanford. I was in Larkin, and it's in Stern. I don't know where you guys were, but all these people had done so many amazing things, and I felt like I'm just this kid who got really lucky into the school. Like I don't really belong here, and so I would not introduce myself. at first. I just stand in the corner and be that really shy kid. And that was one of the biggest mistakes I made. I feel like that spiraled where that whole freshman year, I actually didn't get to know as many dorm friends as I could have and should have. And I didn't really try to change that, fix that until probably sophomore, junior year. But yeah, it's this principle of go first. Whenever you're in a new situation, even though it's slightly uncomfortable, I guarantee you lots of other people feel uncomfortable too, right? So cool, very good. These are really hard programs to get into.
Yeah,
the Stanford programs as well as the Brown program. What advice do you guys have for maybe anybody out there who might be interested to learn more and then to apply?
I think be yourself. That's comes across in because it's not just academically how well you do and like your resume. It's they ask you to talk about why you like these things, and you really need to try and develop a story and have like a starting motivation. It could be as mundane as possible, but it needs to feel authentic.
Yeah.
Sam?
Yeah, I agree with that too, because like when people ask about, oh, how do you get accepted into this university? It's like the same story with summer school. Like there's no golden key to it. You just have to, you have to be able to show them that, first of all, you have the interest, second of all, you have the spirit, like the hardworking spirit, to be able to catch up with whatever they have to offer.
Yeah.
And
but I talk to students and parents all the time, and they're like, what? I have nothing interesting to say. You know, I'm just me, I'm just boring. Like, what do I write about? So maybe that very first summer for you at Brown, for you at Stanford, like, what did you say? Do you remember?
What did I say?
I think I remember my Stanford one better.
Okay, so.
Yeah, because like they just asked about your science achievements, and I look at my resume and there was none. But like, you don't have to do something big in order to show your passion, because I think that one thing that university really understand is that some people, they don't have the circumstance, they don't have the opportunity to reach out for these activities. But if you can show it through your writing, like tell them like why are you interested in something and what is your vision for yourself in the future in that field. I think sometimes like if you can make it compelling because it's authentic and it's you, then you should be in a pretty good position to get in one of those.
So to push you a little bit on that, right? Like, was it all just fluff? Like,
no, it's not just fluff.
Not fluff. Like just all dreams that you want in the future, or like what did you point to? Oh, here's the evidence for that. Here's like what I've tried to do.
Okay. Well, there is definitely supposed to be evidence. Like I'm one of the luckier one because I have like something like a math contest. But like even if you're in public school, your school have like a math league team or like a regional math contest, like anything that show that you try, like even though you don't win any big prize, it's already show like you're willing to step up and participate.
Did you win any prizes?
Well, usually there's no prizes strictly. It's just distinction if you're in the top 25 percentile of the world, which is like not a huge achievement, but you get like recognition for it already. Well, it's Asian kid versus kids in North America.
I'm not gonna comment on that. But because that I feel like that's very common, right? Like, oh, I didn't win the IMO,
No, I didn't.
right? I haven't invented any new app. You know, like there's nothing special about me, and I just feel like I've tried all these things, and what can I really write about? But that authenticity is often much more important to the schools than what you did, right? And this applies certainly when you apply to colleges too, and grad school, right? Like, I advise students so much more about like how to tell the story of what you learned out of, right? And to push yourself into something uncomfortable, right? That shows that you're intellectually curious, you have the grit to persevere through something hard, and that's often more important than did you win a medal, right?
One of the way that a person I know summed it up really nicely is they're not looking at a list of achievements, they're looking at a person. So that's what people should keep in mind when they're
not a list of achievements, but a person.
You're human. You're not.
I like that. Any advice additional or?
The same, and also just since you're aware that like showing this effort is a good way of, I guess, of.
Well, what did you write on your like computer science application? I'm just curious.
I've been using a lot recently I applied to be to do a lecture at this Girls Who Code in front of these girls, and I just talked in my cover letter or application letter. I just basically wrote, what it's given me, I've become more confident from Girls Who Code. I guess I have to delve into that later. And also, I just started doing a coding club in school. I just noticed there's a lack of understanding what computer science really is for younger students. And so I just said, I just want to take it on myself and kind of start guiding them. I might not be the best teacher, but it's just to give them a little initial interest.
Yeah. On understanding what computer science is, so I always find this interesting too. Most people, when you talk about learn computer science, it's like, I need to learn JavaScript, right? It's like, it's a programming language. Mm-hmm. But computer science is much more than that. It's like how to think about programming methodologies, the computational thinking skills, the logic, right? And architecture is far more than just do you know syntax of C++ or something on Java. Great. And what about that was last summer, right? For both of you.
Which one?
Stanford.
Stanford was 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago. Oh my God, time is flying by. Okay, so next summer, what did you do?
This summer I detracted from going to the summer school and went to Hanoi for an internship as a physics institute. So this was even a harder environment.
Yeah.
Because first of all, in Vietnam, first of all, people are not used to taking high school students for internship.
Nowhere are they used to high school students.
Oh, really? Okay, yes. I thought but internship is already a strange aspect. The second aspect is a girl. So every time the first thing you walk in there, the engineer, they were pretty skeptical. Why do you want to pursue this? You know that it's really hard for a woman to make a living when she pursues science, and they kind of doubt my knowledge on physics, which they have a justified reason to. But I feel there wasn't a willingness to teach as much as in in Stanford summer school.
Yeah.
Back then, if you don't understand something and you ask them, they will be willing to show you. But here, if you don't understand anything, they'll be a little skeptical, and you have to go and ask for help over and over again, and get rejected, and they help you. So most of the summer there, I just spent with an electrical engineering book because I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And I observed them as they fixed the machine. They didn't want to let me tinker because I didn't know anything. So a lot of the stuff I actually did there was just washing rag for them to clean stuff. So it was very basic, but what you get out of it is that in an environment, you're not always going to get welcome, and they're not going to always put you, it's not a summer school, you're not their target priority.
Yeah.
You're just there to observe and shadow them. So you not expect to get help from them. You have to go seek for it yourself, and you kind of learn that there are a lot of people out there who are more skilled than you, and you just have to fall back a bit, and it's completely different.
You ended up writing about this in your application.
Yeah.
I remember. How did you find that internship then in the first place?
Well, of course, as a person, you feel kind of offended that they think that a woman can't do science.
Yeah.
But that's just the reality of how the world is. You don't get it is actually truth in some place. You don't get girls' interest in science. It's uncommon for people to see, and you have to be able to deal with those kind of mindset that is different from yours when you go to a different place. You have to be accepting and learn how to get the best out of it, even when people are refusing to give you something you're looking for.
Awesome.
Touching about the reality bit about girls, the females being, I guess, not as interested in STEM fields when they're older. It's quite interesting because when we're actually younger, sometimes we excel above the boys in math and science. And I saw this TED Talk saying the reason might be why is, in some way, I think, especially maybe in the Asian culture, girls are perpetuated to become perfect, and
we have other things to worry about.
So when they come to a field where it's everything everything is has to be correct. There's I guess leeway in some sense. They feel, if I'm not able to do this, it's not, if I can't get that perfect, then something wrong with me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've never heard that, but
because I heard with coding sometimes girls, they don't present, like when they ask for help, they don't show the work they've done. They show a blank screen, because if you go like Control-Z, you'll see that they've worked, but they don't want to show their work. You get it? They're like, I either want to fail completely and say like that, rather than show I
Did you see
can't
that
do it wrong.
yourself when with your peers, or?
I've seen it when I went to the next summer. I went to Girls Who Code.
Okay.
Yeah. So going with the next summer, I joined a 7-week program called Girls Who Code, and I think it's a really good opportunity because it's free, so it's targeted at everyone. And you just go there to learn like a myriad of different coding skills, like computational. You start with Scratch, then you go with Python, HTML, C++. Just get like dabbling in everything, so you can spark an interest. And the girls there, some of them have studied computer science before, like me, but some of them had no experience. They just wanted to try it out and see.
And it's Girls Who Code is a nonprofit.
Yes.
Is it only U.S. or?
It's currently only in the U.S.
Yeah.
I'm unsure if you have to be I forget if you have to be an American citizen to join. But yeah.
Yeah. That is a phenomenal thing. You want to be going to class? Anyone can do it.
Let's do it all together.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
All right. So, building on your interest in coding and engineering, Twilin, you then did Young Makers a few years ago. Tell us what Young Makers is and how you got involved and how the experience was.
Well, I think Young Makers is like a competition geared at local students, and they have to try and make a project that kind of, if further developed or currently made, it could help the local community. And I really liked how it wasn't completely a competition in some sense. It was a training program, and then you could kind of see what you can develop out of that. I started to join it because just then my school started doing computer science, and I think I was doing my first year of computer science in school, and I just thought, and in school, when you just learn about logic, you're like coding, but it's very theoretical. It's like, oh, here's this machine, it's inputting these numbers. If it does this, like, can you output this, you know?
Yeah.
But it's not tangible. You don't actually see like an actual product coming out of your skills. So I thought it'd be really cool to do that with some of my friends in that class. Just see what we could come up with.
Yeah, and tell us about the project you guys made.
We made a 3D scanner called the Eve from like WALL-E, I think. And basically we came with it because we were involved with a charity, and we saw like some of the orphans, I think, had missing limbs. So, and our school provided money for prosthetics. So we thought, hey, maybe we can like make something that would be easier to scan their missing limb area, so their prosthetic would be more comfortable for them and model. We didn't win, so but it was fun.
We just said it's not about the achievement.
No, but it was fun. Like all the whole process was fun.
Exactly. Yeah. So just a little bit of context on like why we helped start the Young Makers movement here. We wanted to do something very different, right? So most of the way that people taught in Vietnam in general, not just women, but for math, sciences, there's one right answer, right? And you have to memorize it and then just spit it back to us. But that's not how the real world is. Right? The real world is you see a problem, like prosthetics issues for people who have disabilities, right? And how do you think of ways to help solve that problem? And there's many different answers. And to design a solution actually requires a lot of different skills, not just coding, not just like math, but you have to have empathy and be able to listen to users, figure out what they really need, think creatively to solve that problem, maybe through processes, maybe through products, maybe through services to help them, right? And so the Young Makers Challenge is a way that really is a true STEAM initiative that, just like in the real world, when you go to work, like you're given a problem or have to think of a problem and find ways to solve it. And someone doesn't tell you, go do this, 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 right? So it's really inspiring for me to hear kind of how you've taken that experience. And even though you didn't win, had a good learning out of that.
Have you heard of Olam Tikum or something?
Olam Tikum. I've heard the name. I cannot put my finger on where I heard it though. What is it?
Oh, it's similar to that. I think it's similar to YMC, but it's more international. I think, and it's more with, instead of local students, it's geared at like actual engineers. So they meet with local, I guess, people with disabilities, and they actually just try and solve their problem.
And are you doing work with them, or?
No, I went to their convention last year when they like presented all of the different solutions. It was actually really cool. I think one of them used ultrasound sensors for this girl who's blind, so it would detect if someone was in front of her. Or other ones was he has weak joints or something, so it would help him stretch and get it stronger. Or another one was like a wheelchair to help her stand up, like a more ergonomically designed one.
Yeah, one of our friends and advisors to young makers is Bahai. He teaches here in Vietnam, but he's also a prolific inventor. And one of the inventions he made was basically Google Glasses type stuff for blind folks, visually impaired folks, that will send signals and vibrate if you're like too close to something. And he's just donated a lot of these pairs all over Vietnam.
It's crazy, man. How do people come up with this?
Yeah, right. But you see a problem, and then you figure out a way to solve it. Right? There's no one answer to do it, and you constantly try to iterate. Right? That's a whole part of the ethos, that mentality of design thinking, is you're always trying to get better. Right? Like you do a retrospective. What did we do well with this version of it, and what do we need to try and change in the design for next time? Right? And it's not any personal hit to your pride that like it's not perfect. Right? Like, it's never perfect. We're trying to always get it better. Great. Shifting gears a little bit. So Bella, you went through the college application process this last year. I remember how stressful you felt at times. And in the end, you had your list of schools. And tell us about the experience overall first.
Application for college. So, I was just very relieved that I got accepted in ED, because it means I don't have to complete the other 17 applications.
Sorry, what is ED?
A lot of people, when first going to the US, they only care about, how do I get into that good school? But I think, as you brought up in the beginning, people are not exposed to like all of these different ranges of school. Like when people in Vietnam, they think about the US, like a lot of names just pop up immediately, like Harvard and Stanford are the top two. Sometimes people hear about MIT, sometimes people hear about Princeton, but first thing first, always for college, I think it's just good to explore the range that you might potentially have. Like you have National University, you have public school, you have private school, you have liberal art colleges and polytechnic school. Like you have all kind of different things you're looking for.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is, like you said, application plan. Like should you apply for early action, which is like you apply early but the decision is not binding, or in case of maybe you apply for early decision, which means if I get in, I have to get accepted right away. And also it's important to explore different financial option in the US, because people think about Harvard, but they don't think about the tuition that might be incurred from it. So you have to find out about, does the school have financial aid? What kind of scholarship does it offer, and how like are all school offering scholarship to students in international? So those are all very like big deciding factor when you apply to college. And the thing is, always do your research, not read the newspaper, because they don't always reveal the aspect of everything. Like a Vietnamese newspaper, a lot of time they call financial aid scholarship. And it's really misleading, because it's not merit based, it's finance based. It's based on how much your family can pay. So like all of these factors, it's up to the people who are applying to do their research and not trust the newspaper all the time. So I think that's the first biggest step.
Okay. And how did you develop your list? And how did University of Chicago get to the top of that list, so that this is the ED school that I'm going to go do?
Yeah, so it was quite like a long story. So because I think it's quite important not to choose the school for its ranking, but rather its ranking in the subject that it teaches. So for example, I remember when I did my research, U of Chicago was in the top 20-ish, but physics, it was among one of the top schools that teach physics. So I made the list based on the school that offer financial aid Like
Yeah.
those are always on the top because for family with financial difficulty, like you should, like it's good to get to a good school, but also very important that you should be able to afford the 4 years of schooling. So that's a really huge factor for me. Like which school offer financial aid. The second factor is what was it? Yeah, the subject that they teach there. Actually, like it doesn't matter so much like the top 50 and above, because I think university in the US, the top 50, the top maybe 30 school, like even though the ranking differ, but the quality of education shouldn't like vary so widely that it makes a huge difference if you apply to a top 1 versus top 20, 30 school, because it's very high quality. So it doesn't matter that much. It's just choosing the like as many options that is financially and academically viable as possible. So Caltech, MIT, and Chicago actually made to my top 3. But I think back then, because I wasn't able to schedule an interview with MIT, like someone told me that it's always better to schedule an interview. So sadly, I was going to EA to 3 of my top school, or like EA to MIT and Caltech, and then ED to Chicago, because Chicago wasn't my top choice. But it was like my mom was also very worried about like if ED2 decreased my chance of acceptance, so we just risk it and go for ED1.
Yeah, so let's step back a little bit on kind of the college process. You just mentioned ED2 and then ED1. What is the difference between those two?
The difference is deadline. Like anything that is EA is you apply it earlier than the regular deadline.
Yeah.
So like there's a smaller pool of application you're competing against, but also you don't have to make the decision until May. But
Right.
for ED2, they differ in the deadline. So one is in November, one is in January.
Yeah.
But the same thing applies. If you get accepted, then you have to accept their offer and go to their school. Or like if you like you have, it's very important that you check the policy of each school to make sure that you not contract with other schools. So for example, for ED school, they allow you to also EA to other school as well. For example, so you can apply to a few schools early, and you have to reject the other school and accept that one.
Yep.
Whereas EA is more like, oh, we don't care what other school you apply to. You can choose whatever school, but you're just early and you have a smaller amount of people you're competing against.
But in general, if you know that like, hey, these are schools that I would love to go to.
Yeah, then you can ED, because like you know that, okay, if I get accepted, then I'll definitely go to this school because it's my top school.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of like my little slip with U Chicago. It's one of my top favorite schools, no doubt, but like I will never know now if I get accepted to MIT or Caltech.
Oh, the grass is always greener.
Yeah, the grass is always greener, but I'm still very happy with the application result.
Yeah. But yeah, it goes just to reiterate what you said before, right? Like the college application process is such an important thing, but people just blindly go by like advice that people get about usually the college rankings.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's so much more important to find the right fit for your academic priorities, your personality. We also didn't talk about like school size, right? Some of these liberal arts schools like are very, very tight-knit community versus the huge institutions, especially some of the public schools that might have a lot more resources, but you're going to be a number. Like, you know, nobody knows who you are.
You would think like, do I want to walk to my class or take a car or take a bike? Like,
yeah. Do you want to live on campus or do you want to commute there every day, right? It's a hugely different experience, and all these schools have very different parameters there. So, good. Any last words of advice on that process for any of our students who might be about to do that this next year? Like
research. Well, you know the application process already, but research for people who don't know it yet. Like, please not read newspaper and be like, oh wow, I'm never going to be like this guy because they do all this amazing stuff. Because you just not go on newspaper all the time, but you can go to a top school too. Like if you look at my resume, there's nothing big about it. It's just a few summer school. It's just a few club in my own school. It's nothing like joining like international Olympiad. It's just me being me, and I have the drive and the capability to go to that school, then it's good. Second, ranking is overrated. You have to think about, do you want to be a small fish in a big pond or a big fish in a small pond? Because now that I think about it, like I don't see the point of going to a top school at all, because like I said, like in the top 1 to top 50, I think the quality shouldn't differ that much. And now that I'm going to a school where everyone is crazy good, I wonder if I can keep the motivation and like my confidence in working with these people.
Mm-hmm.
And is it like really worth it to go to a top school? Like if you think about it, what's the point? Like except like you get more, like when you apply for jobs.
Street cred.
Yeah, what?
Street cred.
Street cred, yes.
So you still. So yeah, and like even statistics show that people who go to a top school but they don't do really well, they don't do as good as people who do really well in like a much less well-known school. It's just statistics show that, and you really have to consider like, why do I want to go to a top school? Like, do you need to?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to? And are you really up for it? So I think a lot of the application process is looking within you to find something that is most suited for you, and to find like what do you really want to do, not go to a school because of its reputation, of how you perceive it to be, even though you've never visited the school before, never studied there before. I don't know people who go to that school. So it's about you. That's like my biggest advice. You have to look into you.
Very well put. I don't need to add anything to that, I think. Tueling, do you have any advice for folks who might be starting to maybe either look at colleges or maybe even earlier on in high school as they start to explore?
I think, yeah, definitely research, just getting to know all the different aspects of what your daily life is going to be. And also think about other countries. I'm targeting the US, but that's easiest, but I also explored UK, US, Canada, but I just found those actually weren't that great of a fit. And also, I think I'm starting to do my college essays now, just like coming up with little ideas, hooks. And it doesn't have to be this biggest thing like, oh, I won this big prize. It can be a little thing, like you can talk about being scared of the dark or paper cuts, I don't know. But just, you always have to link it back to why you think this school will be a big fit, a good fit for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what she touched on, like you should live your life, like get off Facebook, like seriously. Like you have to interact with people around you, read a lot, or like Tueling, like experience like what you like and try all these new things. Not just like read newspaper like online. It's about your experience.
I'm so proud of you guys. Everything that we've tried to do is not to teach you guys, but to coach, motivate, guide you guys, push you guys here and there, so that you develop this own sense of who you are, who you want to become. And our job is just to give you a little bit of extra guidance here and there, or help, right?
I think U2 is really good with like developing a community, because I've come back, I started like 2011, but I've come back several years later and I see there's like some person in my class and they remember me, and I feel so like excited. I'm like, oh, I was memorable in some way. And I think that gives you confidence to like just approach someone or get close to someone.
We're always here if you need, even once you leave.
Like we're the result of your networking. Like I would have known her.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite memories or funny memories from your time here at E2?
Oh yeah, I think one of the things that we like as the first math class in E2 will never forget is bumping into grade 5 Singaporean question on the test, and we're like, oh god, how do you do this? And then none of us solve it, and we're like, Mr. Tony, what is this? And Mr. Hugh would be like, this is grade 3 Singaporean math, guys. And it becomes just like a running joke whenever like we run into like a hard question, like, this is grade 1 Singaporean math. Yeah. So like definitely like how challenging it was, and like we are able to, like we went far with E2, like for me personally. And yeah, it was just, and also in English class where you sit and discuss book, it's just a very, like you don't feel that much of a big of a gap between a teacher and you. They're like your friends. I guess it's the US culture that makes it so.
Is there
Memories?
my memory? I don't know. I just remember the D1 elevator button. Just never ever being able to like press it correctly, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be late.
I'm gonna edit that out of the video. we have a new D1 office. It's awesome now.
I remember just doing like riddles and stuff with Mr. Hugh and Mr. Don.
Oh yeah.
Just being like, I got it. Yeah.
Thank you very much for taking the time, guys. I know it's your weekend. This is really fun for me to be able to have, we've known each other a long time. We've never had like these kinds of conversations.
Okay.
So it's good to really get to know you. And yeah, definitely no matter where your lives take you, we're here.
Yeah.
You're in college. I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I'm here, man. I'm here too. I have like the whole year off next year.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we
gap
didn't even talk
year.
about that. All right, we're gonna have to bring you
Next
back.
episode.
We have a part 2 on
Stay
gap year.
tuned.
Yeah. Okay, because that's a whole huge other topic. We have another student who got into MIT,
Oh, gosh,
decided to
that's
take a
amazing.
gap year as well. So she's here right now too. So maybe we can bring the two
I
of
see.
you
I
back.
gave you guys a sneak peek.
All right, thank you everybody.
You want a fist bump?
Fist bump.
Yeah.
Boom. Bella and Tulin, thank you so much for joining us. We are here with 2 of our earliest and most beloved alumni from Everest. So we're sort of amateurs at this. I've only made like a few videos with like multiple cameras and sound recording before. So one of the things you have to do is do this clapping sound so that it lines the file. So we're testing how's the video look right now. Good? You want to go on the top? Anyone can do it. Let's do it more. Alright. That was excellent. So natural. You guys are amazing. You guys do theater?